Welcome to the first panel today. My name is Tabita Diela. I'm an Indonesia correspondent for DealStreetAsia. So today we are going to have a conversation with Dhianendra Laksmana, sorry, Mas. The Chief Financial Officer of eFishery. Dhianendra joined the company in 2022.
Yep.
So this is, he's celebrating his first year anniversary in the company.
Yep.
And the company is almost celebrating
10-year anniversary.
10-year anniversary. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So Dhianendra is graduated from University of Indonesia, majoring in accounting. Dhianendra has previously held several leadership positions in multinational companies such as PepsiCo, Reckitt Benckiser, and Unilever Indonesia.
Yep.
So eFishery made headline recently for raising 200 million USD in Series D funding round, led by Abu Dhabi-based global fund manager 42X Fund. Today we are going to talk about what's next for the company and how the company built a regional unicorn with farmer-first approach. So let's begin. eFishery has managed to attract capital from big investors.
Yep.
And this is amid the funding winter. So everyone is kind of having a hard time. How different was it from the previous fundraisings for you? And did you find it challenging as others?
Well, I wasn't here in the previous funding raising, but based on the conversation with the founders and with the other team members, obviously there's a difference. I think there's because of two things. One is because we're also at a different stage of the life chain, so we're at the late growth stage. Obviously the expectation from the investor is different than we were still in an early stage. And secondly also, as we heard yesterday, the focus of the whole community right now has shifted from simply top line growth to more of a balanced growth. So profit and cash is also a big focus right now. So that is also happening during our Series D round. But I guess that's basically the reason why the difference between the previous funding round.
So it's not as challenging as others.
I wouldn't say it's not as challenging. I would say it's as challenged, but not so much more than the others.
Right. Yeah. It was a oversubscribed round, right?
Sorry?
It was an oversubscribed round.
Yeah.
Great. But one of the main concerns about investing in agriculture is the transparency of it, the sector, the data. So what do you have to say about that, and how does eFishery address this?
Yeah, thanks. This is a good question and very valid, especially in aquaculture. Fortunately for us, I think the way our business model is set up, it's enable us to have access to a wide range of data, right? And we have multiple streams to collect this data, not just one. One of them is obviously our anchor product, our feeder, e-feeder, automatic feeder, from which we can get data on feeding habit, feeding frequency, feeding consumptions by daily, by weekly, by month, type of feed use, and from our financing products, from our BNPL products, we can get data on number of ponds that the farmers has, the location obviously, the type of ponds, whether it's a land-based or a biofox, the cultivation process, where are we in the cultivation process, and since we offtake their harvest as well, we get data on their harvest. So the volume of the harvest, the type of fish/shrimp, the size of fish/shrimp, the price of those harvests. So all of this data point, helps us to give clearer picture of transparency on the farming process itself. Yeah.
Do you sell the data to third party?
No. We're still using it for internally.
Okay. So while we understand that Indonesia is a maritime country, for years we've been, and there's our ample opportunity for eFishery and also its competitors. There are several aquaculture, aquatechnology companies in Indonesia. What do you think an aquatech company must do to stand out and build a sustainable business?
Well, I think it's not necessarily in aquaculture. I think it's the same across many industries as well. Is that to be successful, to have a sustainable business, one needs to focus their effort and attention to the main actors, you would say, of the industry. In our case, that's the farmers, right? We need to understand their pain point, we need to understand the challenge that they're facing, and then work towards solving it with them. And as a tech company, we're obviously leveraging technology to help solve that issue, right? Because if we put them, on top of our mind when we're doing, then as we, together solve the problem as the main actors, then our bond, the partnership between farmers and eFishery is going to be continued stronger, right? And that ensure of a more sustainable and healthier business going forward. So I think that's the key.
So ensuring the sustainability.
Yep, working with the main players basically.
Okay. So let's go back a little to the fundraising. So the sector, not only you, but also several agri-tech companies also raising fund recently and attracted significant investors' interest in the past couple of years.
Yep.
So you yourself has managed European Gulf-based investors like the 42X.
Yep.
What is the advantage of having investors like 42X on the cap table?
Oh, a lot. I think there's a lot of advantage having reputable investors and as our shareholders. I think to name a few, one would be on the network that they're bringing, right? They can connect us with other companies in their portfolio that may have complementary offering, complementary product and services with eFishery that we can synergize that. We can give with the reputable brand name as our shareholders. Obviously, that gives more credibility to us, to eFishery. We can leverage also the insights and best practices from our shareholders because they've seen it, right? They had companies that gone through in one time or the other, gone through the similar problem or similar issues, and they can share the learnings from it, on areas like taxation, areas like corporate structuring, listing process. We can get that insight. So there's plenty advantage that we can get from our shareholders. That's also one of the reasons why when we're in early discussions with potential investors on a round, that's also what we're looking for. Not just how much money you can bring to the table, but also what kind of synergy that we can leverage together, right?
But what about their demand? What are these new investors asking you to do?
Asking a lot, obviously, but I think it's the same. There's no difference between old and new investors. I think the ask is the same. Like I said before, it's a balanced growth that they're looking. Top line growth is obviously still there. It's still the ask, but profit and cash is also a focus area right now. So that is also a clear focus area for our investors. And since we're now at a late growth stage, our investors are also looking for operational efficiency, internal improvement in our operations, administrative tasks, like corporate restructuring, all of that. Make sure clean it up, make sure the right structure in place. That's basically the demand on that we expect from our shareholders.
You mentioned profitability. I think you're already profitable,
yes,
right?
Yes.
What about the IPO? Are they pushing for IPO for eFishery?
Not so much. I don't think there's any strong push from our shareholders on to have an IPO soon. Our shareholders and the company leaderships in this case are aligned. That we're not going to rush this thing. We're going to focus on our own performance, while keep a close look on the market itself. As the market starts to return back to normal, and then hopefully by that time also our performance has meet or exceed our projection ambitions. So we're in a good place to go into the market.
Is there any target by the eFishery?
There's no such target, but roughly we're looking at 2, 3, 4 years out. So it will be in a short to medium terms, not within 12 months or so.
That's good. So if you are profitable, why do you need so much funding?
Well,
what is your strategy actually?
private jet needs funding.
That's good, that's good.
Now, so firstly, the funding, the capital that we raise is not for our operational, mostly not for our operational, it's mostly to support our future growth initiatives, right? So we have a couple of that, export, downstream, expansion, regional expansion, which needs capital support, right? That is first. And secondly, the way our market operates, our industry, aquaculture in Indonesia in particular, it's not so much of a cash burn, but a cash delay. So we, for example, we need to disburse the cash early, to secure the harvest, to secure the biomass, and then we receive the cash later on because of course there's payment terms with the buyers, so there's some lead time of transport and all of that. So there's always a cash delay on that, and which we need working capital support for that. But for this, it will be mostly through our working capital facilities with our banking partners, and funding from the rounds is the equity funding will be to support our future growth initiatives.
Can you specify the plans?
Yeah, there are a couple on that. One is on export. So we're going to start with we started with shrimp, but there's in the near future also there's potential for fish. And for that, we need to invest on capacity and capability to enable the export business. Secondly is on downstream, to scale up our downstream business domestically, in particular for fish. Again, for this, we need to invest on the capacity, on the value chain, the last mile capability, on all of that. And then the third one is also on regional expansion. We started with India this year. We piloted in India. We started commercial business there in India, production. We have a couple of people on the ground right now doing. We started selling and making profit. So all of this, it's still in basically commercial pilot mode for until the end of the year. And if successful, next year we're going to scale it up. Again, that will be one of the stream where the capital is going to be allocated at.
Where to next after India and the export? Where do you want to export, and has it started?
So export, we've started with US. Obviously, US is the biggest market for shrimp, so we started with US. We're soon going to start export to China as well, which is again the second biggest for the US. We have also established a legal entity in the US for a trading entity there. Next after India, I would say, we're a couple of markets obviously that is, potential to go. One of it will be China, and the other will be in the Southeast Asia region itself, either Philippines or Vietnam. We need to explore further.
Is there any plan to add more revenue stream into eFishery?
I would say not a new one, entirely new, but it's more expanding what we have right now. So right now our business stream is basically the three business stream, what we call fresh, which is the commodity, the fish and shrimp, and then the feed business, which is basically feed business, and non-feed business like vitamins and seed, and then the farm business, which is our technology products like e-feeder and all of that. There will not be as much new products as per se, but it's more of expanding the business line. For example, like fresh, we're going to still focus on freshwater fish and shrimp. There's no plan as of now to go, for example, to seawater fish or to crab. So we're going to stay with freshwater fish.
Okay, so in the plan, fish farmers plays a big part, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
But do they have a say in that plan? And how many fish farmers do you work with right now?
Okay. Right now we work with about 70,000 farmers and about 300,000 ponds, right? And they are absolutely a key component of the plans, right? It's not like they have it's not like whether or not they have say, because we're not a cooperatives and then a member of the cooperative that has to say, but the plan is built around the farmers, right? So the we're always looking at started with the farmers in terms of the plan, and I give you example on our downstream business. When we we want to scale up our downstream business, And to do that, we need to connect the farmers directly to the end customers, right? And simplify the value chain along the way as much as possible. So by doing that, then the farmers will get improved in terms of pricing, in terms of guaranteed channel of their harvest. So their income, their livelihood will be improved, while the customers will also get improved with more competitive pricing and potentially better quality product. So again, that's all started with the farmers. It's they're the center of the ecosystem basically.
Right. So is there any projections of how many farmers you work with?
I'm not so much on the farmers, because farmers, one farmer can have 1 ponds, the other can have 200 ponds, right? But we're looking at what we track is the ponds managed, and right now we're about 300. The ambition is to reach 1 million ponds by
1 million.
2025. Yeah.
Great. So how does eFishery ensure that the needs and aspirations of the farmers, you said that you are working around,
Yep.
remain at the core of your business operations and decision making?
Yep. Well, our values, the first values of eFishery is farmer first. Is the first slide in our deck. In all presentation is the first slide, our farmers first. And our founder, Gibran, is particularly passionate about this. Yeah.
He's also
He was a farmer as well, right? So he's very passionate about this. So he always said that we do this, we scale up to, how many big in terms of making this much revenue, making this much profit. We list it there, but it's none of that worth it if we don't have an impact to the farmers. Right? So it's always farmer first. And it's not just a jargon. But when we do, in the operation, when we review a business, when we evaluate new business opportunity, we will link it back to these values, farmers first, in terms of what is this impact going to be to the farmers? Is it going to help them? Is it going to make them worse off? Or how are we going to do that? So that's how we stay connected with farmers. We always, and also we try as much as possible to get direct feedback from the farmers, not just from our sales team on the field, but also the leadership team and other functional, even not just sales, but like HR, like finance, are encouraged to visit the farmers as frequently as possible.
So maintain that relationship.
Yep.
So when you're talking about farmers, can you share what kind of key metrics or indicators that eFishery use to measure the positive impact it has on farmers' life and the aquaculture industry? How can you maintain this when eFishery is pushing for global expansion?
Yeah. So we regularly engage with third-party agency to issue an impact report on an annual basis, which sees what's the overall impact eFishery to the farmers. Coming from where? Coming from our apps, coming from our e-feeder, coming from the BNPL financing, and how's that affect their livelihood, their income, basically. That's on an annual basis, an annual report, impact report. But on a more daily basis, there's not specific metrics that we measure, but we're looking from, let's say, from our BNPL submission, right, Kabayan financing. We can track also we can see the progress that the farmers make. For example, when they first join with us with financing, they have 3 ponds. Now they have 10 ponds. So that's how we see the improvement on their business. The first day, like a 50 ton of feed purchase on a monthly basis. Now they go up to 200 tons per month. So those are the metrics that we see that we are definitely making an impact.
I see. About Kabayan, your BNPL feature, are you going to have specific business or being a financial company along the way?
You're saying?
Fintech, yeah.
Well, that's one of the options on the features. I guess we're still exploring all the details, but it will be later on in the future. Then I guess right now we're continue assess while we're exploring on the future what we're going to do with the business.
I see. So building a regional unicorn is, I believe, it's a journey filled with valuable lessons. Could you share some key insights of that journey or challenges that eFishery has encountered along the way, and how this experience have shaped the company?
Yeah. Well, considering I'm only 1 year to the company, I'm just gonna share a story that the founder once told me, right? So we started the business, the founder Gibran, obviously doing everything by himself, right? So he's trying to sell our first product, our anchor product, the e-feeder, by himself. So he put it in his bike and then he go around the farmers and then just, trying to sell it, explaining to the farmers the benefit of this technology, it's very hard. He's saying it's very hard until months he cannot get any sales, and then finally he get about 10 farmers that want to buy the product.
The
feeders, yeah, the feeders. So he was very very happy. Then when he asked these farmers why they decided to engage with them, to rent the feeder, he said he thought it's going to be like, oh, because the technology is very good and everything, but no, actually the farmer saying because I will feel sorry for you because you come every day, right? So, but that tell him the lesson that to meet with farmers, it has to be a personal approach, right? And you need to understand you need to approach it personally to understand their business. You cannot just simply like a business, just buy and sell. That's why also we're still maintaining, our sales field team also because we want to build this relationship, not just all through digital. I think that's one of the story that's resonate with me as well.
Yeah, but as you grow bigger in size, you keep that interpersonality.
Correct. I mean, some of the farmers right now still still knows Gibran very well and then still contact him because he's doing it since the beginning. Yeah.
So Gibran started 10 years ago by himself.
Yeah.
How many people are in your team right now?
We are about 2,400 now.
2,400 across Indonesia.
Yeah, across Indonesia.
Wow.
And India as well. There's 4 people in India. Yeah, 1 people in America. So.
1 people in America.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So we do have questions from the audience. Shall we? The first one.
Yep.
How does eFishery maintain accountability of its farmers and also keep its NPL, I believe, NPL low?
Yep. So basically, firstly, we do a KYC on our farmers before they engage with us. From the standard basics in terms of their personal ID and all that, and to their incomes and then their financials as well. That is one. Secondly, and it links to also the second question on keeps its NPL. Secondly, because we offer a complete package, we sell the feed in financing, but we also take the harvest. That helps us to manage the NPL as well. And so they can pay in cash or they can pay in fish or shrimp. Right, so that's also it's sort of a collateral that we can take to pay off their debt.
But it's a closed loop.
It's a closed loop, yeah.
Okay. There's second question. If anyone have question, just shout or put it in the system. What has been the impact of eFishery on your farmers? How has their income changed since onboarding versus their output?
So I'm going to quote the data from our last impact report, which is last year, 2022. So that's on overall the farmers. So the report is basically interviewing about 500 or 600 farmers, and about these farmers, about 40% experience an improvement in their income. So about 40% plus experience and improvement. 30% plus experience and improvement in their income pre and post eFishery, and about 40% it's in apps. So the three main source of that that's impactful to them is our apps, where they can buy feed and other inputs, and then the feeder, and then lastly is the financing products, the kabayan. Those are the 3 products that is most impactful to the farmers.
That improve their income.
Correct.
Okay. There's third question. Do the farmers have any guaranteed income? Do they have any equity, and do they benefit from your unicorn status?
No. So I mean, right now, farmers guaranteed income, meaning they can guarantee sales or channel. That is not yet there right now. That is one of the things that we want to do as we scale up the downstream. So as we had the final channel of disbursement for the fish to the downstream business, that can help to guarantee the purchase of fish from the farmers. In shrimp, we somewhat can do that because we do contract supply and all of that. The same we're going to do with the fish once we scale up the downstream business. Do they have any equity? No. Again, we're not a cooperative right now, so they don't own a stake in eFishery, but that's one of the options that we're exploring as well, particularly for our financing business on cooperatives. Because as you know, cooperatives, there's like then the member will get the benefit of the cooperative's income, right?
I think we have room and time for one more question. Do you see financial services for farmers becoming a sizable business for eFishery?
In terms of quantum absolute, may not be, I would say, it's not going to be bigger or as big as our fresh business, for example, or our feed business, because those are trading business that are, the volume are very big, right? But it's going to be certainly more profitable, and then certainly can be more profitable, and it's a very clear, unique selling proposition that we have, value proposition that we share to the farmers, this financing service, and not just in terms of, if we're talking about right now we have BNPL, right? But the option, the opportunity is even more than that in terms of financing services that we can provide, like insurance, like maybe banking. So those obviously potential for us to explore further. So definitely it's going to be a very important business going forward for us.
Okay. I think the last one you can answer very quickly. Does eFishery have its own farm?
No, we don't have our own farms. We work with farmers and we manage their farmers, but we don't own any farms.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dhianendra. Thanks so much for the conversation.
Tabita.
And I believe so many people still want to talk to you after this. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.